A surging demand for avocados could be putting one of Africa's traditional ways of life at risk. A community of Maasai herders in Kenya are fighting to protect their grazing land and livelihoods from an agricultural company. And conservationists fear its plans to build an avocado farm will be disastrous for elephants and wildlife tourism. Malcolm Webb reports now from near the town of Kimana.
For thousands of years, people have been herding livestock on the plains around Mount Kilimanjaro. And they've been teeming with wildlife for even longer. Tourists come here to see it. Leshan Kineni guides them when he's not with his cows. His community of Maasai herders agreed with the government that this area should be reserved for open grazing and wildlife. And so he's alarmed that some of it's been fenced off for farming crops.
You know, we're moving from place to another places, so that this land now is for one person. This is not good for us in Maasai. Yeah, we see a very long different things happening in this land here.
The land available for nomadic grazing here in Kenya has been shrinking ever since colonialism. The farmers have fenced off just under a square kilometre of land. Conservationists say it's followed a series of irregular decisions by the relevant authorities, and they say many more investors are waiting to see if this farm will be allowed to continue, and if it is, they say many more tracts of land will be fenced off, and that will be devastating for the herders and for the wildlife. Within the fence, a company called Kiliavo Fresh plans to grow avocados for export and other crops. It belongs to some agricultural investors from the capital, Nairobi, 200 kilometres away.
So this now are the avocados.
The farm manager, Jeremiah Salash, who's from this area, also owns some shares.
I can see the future is very bright. As you can see now, the idle land which was assigned as agricultural land, now there's an open, like Kiliavo, coming to exist in that land to do the activity of agricultural land and to educate people how to transform themselves from the traditional way of life to modern life.
But Daniel Ole Sambu says the land here isn't idle. He works for a conservation group. He says thousands of tourism jobs depend on the wildlife, and the survival of about 2,000 elephants here depends on a corridor, the green area, connecting two wildlife reserves. The blue lines show their tracks, and the farm sits in the middle of them. It's not the first farm here, but he says it'll open the floodgates to many more.
It's interfering with the whole system. The corridor, the community conservancies might collapse. The farm is in a wrong place because there are designated areas where you can do farming without interfering with the other land use.
An environmental tribunal has ordered Kiliavo to stop the farm. Kiliavo says its papers are in order and it's appealing the decision. Many of Kenya's 13 million herders are poorer than those living in farming communities, towns and cities. Leshan says if they lose the last of their pastures, they'll lose everything.